City basketball?
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's New York point guards. Long time coming. I'm glad it's out now. So I want to give a big shout out to Kevin Durant's production company who's doing this in New York. It's great, man. This I learned the game, through great point guards such as Kenny Smith, Mark Jackson, Rod Strickland, and the best, Pearl Washington.
How do you feel like that competition prepared you, for Georgia Tech and the next level in the NBA?
It prepared me, awesome. I was able to compete against the best, so I knew going into, Georgia Tech and my class of senior year in high school that, hey, I went against the best, so it was easy for me.
Coaching at Fisk, they just had an HBCU showcase down at Vegas Summer League. What does it mean to, bring your profile to an HBCU, a small school?
Yeah, that was awesome. The HBCU connected with the NBA. It was down in Vegas for the first year. I could get two of my players, get good contracts overseas. So it just was great.
You were cool. Sabrina, what's been the biggest adjustment going from college to the WNBA?
Just the level of play. Obviously, we've elevated, so I would say that's definitely biggest and most drastic.
Who's the toughest player to guard so far?
Candace Parker probably gets switched on her.
You got switched on Candace Parker in the post?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
Or did you hold your own?
Half and half, but she's put me in the basket a few times.
What was the best advice Kobe gave you?
I would just say stay true to yourself.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. How do you reflect on the fact that you were one of the few that came from the street ball scene straight to the NBA? How do you reflect on that?
I'm excited, delighted to be one of those guys. So many guys before me that were great so-called playground players that for whatever reasons hindered them from making it and going as far as I did. And I'm just happy that I was able to do it to show the youngsters that's come behind me that, everyone's path that's in this film is different. And my path probably is the one that is different. And to let the youngsters understand that different is okay. And just, keep persevering and keep believing, have faith.
What was the biggest adjustment you had to make once you got to the league?
The biggest adjustment was getting the coaches to adjust to the fact that I wasn't just a playground player. That I was a guy who lived the game, studied the game, and watched all my guys that played before me, and I really could play the game with the best of them.
How do we get the Knicks back on track, Skip, man? We need a championship here with the Knicks. They got Brunson. They might get Donovan Mitchell. What do you think about the outlook of the Knicks?
That's a start. You get the guys. Once you start getting the guys that want to be here, because that's what was good about the past. When the Ewings, the Oakleys, the Masons, Starks, all that, they wanted to be here. So make sure you get the guys, the players that want to be here, and they want to help turn the franchise around.
Hey, you mentioned Mason. What is it about Queens that produced so many good balls? Can Queens seem to have the best of the borough?
We still putting them out there. But I don't know. I guess we fly under the radar in Queens. I think everyone thinks of Brooklyn and Harlem and the Bronx, but with Queens, we fly under the radar.
Thanks a lot. Yep. Nancy, what was the best advice that Clyde ever gave you?
Clyde would just tell me just to be confident, be prepared, never really worry about things that I can't control, and just always play hard. And he did tell me when I was 22 years old, make sure you make everybody around you good. And that became a hallmark of me.
What do you think about the state of the Knicks right now? How do we get back to prominence?
I think the Knicks are going to be just fine. Julius Randle's going to bounce back, have a great year. If some of these trades brings, you just signed Brunson, who had a hell of a year with the Mavericks. I think he's going to be a good piece. He's not going to be a number one, but he could be a 2 or 3 and a consistent player. And I think his experience in Dallas is going to, galvanize other players, to come here. Thank you.
Talk about the impact that these guys being profiled in this documentary had on your career.
Oh man, all the way going back to Pearl Washington. My dad, grew up watching him play. Actually grew up playing against him. And he had an impact on my dad. So when I was being taught from my dad, was telling me about, Pearl Washington's moves and his handle, how smooth he was. So Pearl Washington has a big impact on my game. Watching guys like Washington on TV. just his smoothness, his grace, and then playing against guys like Omar Cook and Talib Brown and Andre Barrett, playing against those guys growing up, helped shape my game the way it is today.
Well, what did you take from the NYC game to the NBA?
Just our grit. One thing that New York City basketball definitely embodies is being able to play with some kind of toughness. And only the tough survive here in New York. If you're not tough, you're not going to survive here in New York at all.
How did the Knicks get back on track, man? We need a championship here.
They need a New York City point guard. They need it.
Is Jalen Brunson that guy? Oh, he's not sold. How about Spider Mitchell, man? They might get Spider Mitchell.
I'm not mad at Spider Mitchell.
Okay.
But he's not a point guard.
Hey, he played point guard. He played on and off with Utah Jazz, man.
You're right.
Could you see the two of them coexisting in the backcourt? 2 6'1" guards.
Excuse me?
Could you see the two of them coexisting in the backcourt?
Brunson and
Spider.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely in this time in this league. Yeah. That's not a bad backcourt at all.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Knicks just picked up Jalen Brunson, man. What type of player they get?
Great.
Brunson?
Like Jalen Brunson is nice. Like he's a good player. Like I said, he's gonna be consistent every day. And like I said, people don't know how much consistency matters until they have a person in their life that they can count on every day. And high or low, Jalen Brunson is gonna be the same person.
Thanks a lot. T-Mac, what was Skip to my Lou like as a teammate on the Rockets?
He was very competitive. He was hilarious. The prankster of the team, but fun to be around.
Did he cross you up, man?
No. I ripped that shit for Skip.
First year OBL in the books, man. Finished up in Vegas. How do you reflect on that first season?
It over-exceeded my expectations, man. Great feedback from everybody. Everyone is looking forward to next season. The players are happy about it. It's just really all about the opportunity that these guys, have never really gotten in their careers. So I'm happy for them, and they happy, and it's a great thing. It's what's going on right now. So
you know your time with the Knicks, man. Knuckleheads podcast. You and Q had a laugh about that time with the Knicks. That it was a great time. So tell me a little story about that, man.
I came in there thinking, okay, I'm looking around the locker room. We got some talent around here. We got enough. I've been on worse teams. I know I'm not in my prime. I'm not that dude, but I'm looking around like, we got a chance of making the playoffs. And Q humbled me real quick. It was pretty bad once we got to playing games, and it wasn't a good look.
Do you remember the Garden reaction in your game against the Thunder, your first game?
Yeah, it was crazy. It gave me chills. That was sheer adrenaline that I was running on, because once I just came off the microfracture surgery, so once reality kicked in, I was horrible.
Let's say the Knicks, they got Brunson, they got Jalen Brunson, so let's say they get Donovan Mitchell. You see that backcourt coexisting?
Yeah, I think they'll do well, but I don't think it really moves the needle for them now.
Well, what do you think we need to do to get back to the promised land?
We need a superstar, bro.
We need you to come back, man.
I'm so cooked.
Thanks
You
a
were
lot.
super cooked.
Appreciate the time. What does it mean to have a documentary, highlighting the impact on this city and the game of basketball?
It really is unbelievable, and I think about the history of the point guard position. It didn't just start with Earl Washington, Mark Jackson, Kenny Smith, Kenny Hutchinson. It started way before us. So shout out to the OGs, guys like Lenny Wilkins and Bob Cousy and Tiny Archibald, the only man to ever lead the league in scoring and assists in a single season. So I'm honored that the story is being told, and that Kevin Durant, Rich Kleiman, and company at Showtime has given us a platform to tell the story. The effect of point guard play from New York City, play in general from New York City, and the culture of hip-hop itself. It's a dynamic story, and one that I'm privileged to be involved in.
How do you feel like the New York City game helped you at St. John's and then ultimately into the league?
Well, the New York City game didn't just help me at St. John's or in the NBA. It helped me in life. Just that New York City edge, toughness, willingness to embrace trials and tribulation, adversity, and find a way to gut it out and come out on top. The ability to embrace the bright lights and not be afraid. New York City gives you something that I believe nowhere else in the country has the ability to give you. What's up, baby?
Trying to look clean as you.
Don't do it. Don't do that. You good? Yes, sir. Thanks again, baby.
About Knicks getting Jalen Brunson. What type of play do you think they're getting in Brunson?
Tremendous player, the guy that I watched grow up. I had the honor of playing with his dad and Rick. He's much better than Rick, and I'm proud of him the way he's had his career start. And this is going to be a great opportunity for him. So the future's awfully bright for him, and he has a well-deserved contract also.
Now they may go out there and get Donovan Mitchell. As a coach, could you see those two guys coexisting in the backcourt, especially defensively?
Well, if they go get Donovan Mitchell, you win in this league with talent, superior talent, and he's an elite talent, and it'd be a great get for the Knicks.
Thanks a lot, man. So what do you think about Jalen Brunson coming to the Knicks?
So shout out to Jalen Brunson and his dad. I think he's incredible. He put in a lot of work, and he's at the NBA at the right time, because if he was in our era, that would have been like $3 million, but now that's like 20. You know what I mean? So shout out to Jalen. Go buy a ton of real estate and go and actually bring a championship here to New York City. We need it. Shout out to Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn. I played at the Navy Yard and so in the hole, but the Knicks need that title, so Jalen Brunson, bring it to us.
The Knicks traded for Donovan Mitchell. How do you see that backcourt working out?
That's incredible. I didn't know Jalen was 6'4".
6'1".
6'1". Donovan 6'1".
That's what they claim.
Donovan 6'2", man. Donovan's got to be 6'2", but I think it'd be great. Donovan's a winner. I don't think he's top 20 in the NBA, but he's right there. Right, so hopefully he can get over the hump, and we support him. If he's coming to New York, we don't know yet. All right, so he's not a New York guy yet, so we ain't gonna talk about Donovan. Wait till he's signed, and then we'll talk about him.
If you win, enjoy the rest of the off season. What off